Hello there, and welcome to the David Mamano Show. And you guessed it, I am David Mamano. So excited about my show today. I have a guest that I met about a year ago, and I feel like I've known him forever, and he is like a soul brother. Love this guy. If I don't have any brothers, but if I had a brother, I would choose Steve Rizzo. Steve Rizzo, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Now I'm your brother. Don't push it, all right, pal?
All right, distant cousin, but we're what paisans from another mother, we'll say, right? So, but Steve, you are you are really who I aspire to be. How does that sound? You are a motivational speaker. You are a comedian, and yet still massively good looking. So you're the full package. I mean, how do you handle it all, really?
I'll tell you, it's not easy being me.
We're going to learn that Steve had a great relationship with Rodney Dangerfield. Steve, I'm going to start off by giving an overview of your bio because it's so freaking awesome. You've done so many cool things. And then I want to dig into how you're making the world, businesses, people, everything better by infusing motivation with humor, smiles, comedy, and just bringing everybody that you touch to the next level of where they want to be. You're like I also almost want to add like a psychologist meets a comedian. You know, does that make sense? That's whenever I talk to you, I feel like I'm getting some good advice about my life too.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. No, whenever I talk to you, I feel like you help me with my life while laughing my ass off. So it's a good combo, you know. So, but Steve Rizzo, folks, if you get the chance, look him up. SteveRizzo.com. I'm glad you got that before someone else did. But Steve, as you might know by his accent, he grew up in Brooklyn, New York. That was a very bad Brooklyn, but Brooklyn, New York.
Look, don't try that again, please.
I'll just say Rochester. I'm from Rochester. How's that? That's more authentic. But you grew up in Brooklyn, and despite being told by a guidance counselor that you lacked the intelligence for college, what an inspirational counselor. I mean, that person.
It was in front of my mom and dad. I was 14 years old. He didn't quite say you didn't have the intelligence. He said, which is the same thing. He said, well, let's just say Stephen doesn't have what it takes to go to college. That's what he said. And I believed him. So did my mom and dad. Well,
that counselor really should have been a motivational speaker like you, right? So, and you were voted least likely to succeed in high school. It doesn't get better and better. But you ended up earning a Bachelor of Arts in English and Education with honors. So how about that? And a Master of Arts in Theater Arts from Long Island University, CW Post. And then you actually taught at your former high school. Was the school counselor still there that told you like you?
Actually, he was. It was his last year, and I went in. I reminded him. I said, "You probably don't remember me, but you told me in front of my mom and dad that I didn't have what it takes to go to college." And then I said, "Just so you know, I did go to college. I graduated with high honors. I got my master's in theater arts, and now I'm teaching at the same school that you said I would never be able to do."
Yeah, right there.
Really he was really pissed off.
Oh, he should have been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." My God, unbelievable. And then you actually served as a counselor at this school for students with behavioral challenges. So you were able to give back, kind of do the antithesis of what that stupid counselor did for you, right? So, and then you got into comedy. You achieved success. You were a national headline comedian. You shared stages with comedians like Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Ellen DeGeneres, and Rodney Dangerfield, where you were a regular at his club. And I definitely want to dive into that a little bit more because you and Rodney were very tight, right? Mm-hmm. And you even had your own Showtime comedy special and was honored as a Showtime Comedy All-Star. How about that? I want to see that show. I'm going to find that sometime.
Yeah, I was introduced by Woody Harrelson, and he introduced me as a Showtime Comedy All-Star. As a matter of fact, his introduction for me, this was in Atlantic City when the Sands Hotel was still there. He said, now we're going to bring up in my view, a Showtime Comedy All-Star who was voted least likely to succeed in his senior class in high school. And now he's here at the big room in Atlantic City. Please welcome Steve Rizzo. Yeah.
Oh, that must have been like just very gratifying for you. Like,
I had tears in my eyes because it hit me. It hit me. In the green room. I know I'm interrupting your intro to me, but
I love it. No, interrupt away.
Pretty cool. I was sitting in the green room the night before, Now picture this. I'm sitting in the green room the night before, because when you do a special, you always have to do a run through when you do a comedy special, and the lighting and the sound and you're the whole thing. And I'm sitting in the green room by myself, and I'm reflecting on my life, on how I was told by a guidance counselor that, I wasn't smart enough and voted least likely to succeed. And I'm by myself, and Woody Harrelson walks in, and he goes, Steve, he goes, for tomorrow night for the big show, he goes, how do you want me to introduce you? And that's when I told him that. Tell him you're going to introduce someone who was voted least likely to succeed in his senior class in high school. And he sat down next to me, gave me the biggest hug. He goes, that is the coolest, effinest introduction I have ever heard.
Oh, that's
and he
awesome.
couldn't wait to introduce me when it was showtime. You know what I mean?
Right.
He
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
wait. You should look it up. You should Google this Steve Rizzo Showtime special.
I want to see it. It's
And
on
you
YouTube?
could see him. You could see him bringing me up. Like, he was happy for me. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely going to do that right after this. I definitely want to see that special. That's awesome. So then what happened was, after a great career in comedy, you decided to say, hey, in 1994, I'm going to transition to motivational speaking. And what made you do that? What made you say, hey, I don't want to be a comedian anymore. I want to kind of mix comedy and motivational speaking?
This is that's really a good question. I don't have an answer, but that's a good question.
Thank you.
This is pretty intense, because when I hit the comedy circuit, I hit it really fast. Comedy wasn't that big around the country. I started in the late 70s, early 80s, and all of a sudden, comedy clubs started opening up everywhere. I mean, Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Alabama, everywhere. And I started headlining immediately, because I was doing comedy part-time and I teaching full-time. I quit the teaching gig, the counseling gig, and did it full-time. And I was known as the road warrior in the business. And Chris Rock opened for me, Sam Kinison opened for me, and Rosie O'Donnell, Drew Carey. Drew Carey was my roommate in college when I was doing stand-up in L.A. He was my roommate. I had my house on Long Island, but for 6 months out of the year, I had to live in L.A. for pilot season, audition for movies and sitcoms and commercials. So I started working a lot. And I thought I had control of my fears, my negativity of not being good enough. But they stay with you, as I soon realized, because many years have gone by and I'm headlining this room and that room. And my management team, my agency, are giving me these auditions. Steve, there's an audition at the Improv. There's an audition at the Comedy Store for a movie, for a sitcom. And something inside me panicked every time, and I made an excuse. I said, I can't do that. I'm already booked in Omaha, Nebraska. And my agency and my management team was saying, what are you talking about? We'll get someone else to take your place. No, I don't want to disappoint the fans. I'm a big draw there. And what I was doing, as I soon realized, the reason why I kept avoiding the auditions is because I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I had what it takes. And when you audition for a sitcom, for a movie, in the audience, it's nothing but industry people. It's directors, movie directors, producers, industry people, people who choose people who are going to be in any particular movie. That means I felt on an unconscious level that these people were looking at me like they're looking through a microscope and looking to see how good I'm not how good I am. And it took me a couple of years to realize that I was sabotaging my success. Big time. And I just got so upset with myself, and I'm making a very long story short, I decided to go on a quest, a self-help quest to better myself. I read almost every self-help book you could imagine. I went to spiritual seminars, went to many Tony Robbins seminars. As a matter of fact, I got to know him just a little bit. And in the middle of a Tony Robbins seminar, I'm sitting there. He's got thousands of people in the audience, and I'm writing. I don't even realize I'm doing it. I have a pen in my hand, and I write. I'm noticing the command he has for the audience. I can do this. And I put the pen down. I didn't realize I'm writing this, by the way. 20 minutes later or so, I pick up the pen again, and I said, I should do this. And then finally I picked it up and I said, fuck it, I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing this. Mm-hmm. And I still have that paper. I still have it. It's in a box when I got a divorce. My wife threw all that stuff. And I realized that I have something that Tony Robbins didn't have. I was incredibly funny. I was very entertaining. And there was a teacher in me that still needed to express itself. So through the years, gradually, I decided to make the shift from comedy to speaking. And I live both worlds now, because now I could make people laugh, but yet I can have them walk away with strategies that can help them personally and professionally. It wasn't easy, though. I got to tell you, it was painful, because there was a point where I was doing both, but the speaking engagement started coming in with such intensity. I'm talking major clients, JP Morgan and Chase and American Express, Microsoft. I'm speaking for all these companies, thousands and thousands of people in the audience. So I made the choice and I left. And every one of my comedy friends, my manager tried to sue me. My agency thought it was crazy. They were begging me to see a psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. But, and it was scary to make that shift. But I did. And till this day, it's the smartest thing I've ever done.
So, no, thank you for that. So my question is, I want to back up a little bit because I think it happens to a lot of people. You were sabotaging yourself. You didn't think you were good enough, but obviously you were, but you just didn't believe you were good enough. Did you ever examine what was all that about?
Yeah, that's the crux of the whole situation. Everyone in the comedy business, and I'm not exaggerating any. As a matter of fact, I'm downplaying it. I mean, there were people saying, you're going to be the next one. You're going to be the next star. You're going to be, you're going to do it. But deep inside, I didn't believe it. And I realized that those negative labels that are bestowed upon us throughout our entire lives come with us. They become a part of your subconscious. Your subconscious runs 95% of your life, and you don't even know it's doing it. That's why people wake up in the morning in the same routine all the time. Their subconscious is running their lives, waking up on another day. I hope I don't have to deal with this idiot again. Why does everything have to happen to me? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I better play it safe. And that's what I was doing. I was playing it safe and not auditioning for the parts and for the movies. And it was at I had an audition, and like I said, Drew Carey was my roommate, and I came home after an audition, and he said to me, how did the audition go? I said, it went really well. And he said, what do you want to do for dinner? I said, you do what you want. I said, I'm packing my stuff. I'm going home. I'm not doing this anymore. And we had a big argument. You can't be doing this. You're so close. And I say, how can I be so close to something I don't want to do anymore? He goes, yeah, but I said, no, I'm doing it. And that's when I made that decision. I called my wife when I was married. I called my wife and said, I'm coming home. She knew exactly what I was going through. But after I confronted my fears and all of that self-help that I did to help myself, I realized those strategies that I used to turn my life around are the very strategies that I implement when I speak to my corporate clients and when I give my personal seminars. That's what I do. How I give them my blueprint for success and happiness. And what makes it work is that I'm very entertaining. Today, and you'll agree, we live in the United States of entertainment. The attention span of the average audience today is very minimal, very minimal. Because you have to be really good up there. Because if you're not, they're going to be picking up their phones right in front of you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Watching TikTok to be entertained instead.
Oh yeah. And so I have that entertaining value. As somebody said to me, and I hear this in one way or another, I can't thank you enough. Never has my group learned so much and laughed so hard in one sitting. Thanks for the ride. Somebody described me as picture Tony Robbins combining a mindset of Robin Williams or something like that, they would say. And that stuff just gave me more juice that I made the right decision.
Do you think, you talked about that you didn't believe it yourself, even though everyone was telling you you're great. Do you think it's because of what, like, things like the counselor said, least likely to succeed? Maybe there's some other people in your life growing up that were negative influences on your mindset, and then you finally were able to readjust your subconscious?
And that's what you have. That's what I did. See, when you're 14 years old, and I hope a lot of parents listen to this show and students, people, because you don't realize that your life is being conditioned by your past. So when you're told at 14 years old in front of your mother and father that actually you're not smart enough to go to college, and when he asked me, what do you want to do with your life? I said, I want to be a teacher because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know I was going to be an entertainer or a speaker. And well, let's just say Stephen doesn't have what it takes. I believed him. And the scary thing was, as great as my mom and dad were, they believed him too, because they were from the old school. They figured he's got to know what he's talking about. Look at his title, guidance counselor. If he doesn't know, who does? So not only did I let this asshole tell me what I couldn't do, he told me what he thought I should do. And that stuck with me. And you don't realize those labels stick with you. And then when I was voted least likely to succeed, and by the way, it never made it to the yearbook, the least likely to succeed. It was on a list that I found in a guidance counselor's office when they were preparing the yearbook. I saw this list. You know how they have the most popular class clown. I was also voted class clown.
Yeah, me too.
The best hair, which I never had, and the most popular, the best dress. And then I saw least likely to succeed, and I was on this list with like 5 or 6 other guys. And I didn't think nothing of it then, but that stuck with me too. So when I graduated, I didn't give myself much of a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
And I hung out with a tough crowd. A lot of my friends now, they're either dead or they're in prison. One was murdered. A few of them died from shooting up and died of HIV. And just that's the crowd I was hanging out with.
Yeah.
And the person that turned my life around really was my brother Michael, who is 100% disabled as a result of the Vietnam War. I don't have time to get into his story. I'd like to do this another time with you. He turned his life around. He went to college in his condition, and he didn't ask. He told me. He was like my second father. He said, "You're going to college. I'm going to take you. I'm going to sign you up." And I was petrified. I had tears in my eyes. I can't do it. I'm not smart enough to go to college. And he's the one that made me go. And he signed me up for 4 easy courses: English, history, art, and music. And I did it.
Yeah.
And I got to know my professors. And I nailed it. I went for extra help for this and extra help for that. And I graduated with high honors.
That's amazing. So then you started saying like, all right.
Yep.
There's something here.
I started reconditioning my mindset. That's why when you go to my website now, it says Steve Rizzo, the Mindset Adjuster.
Yeah.
And all my programs, whether a company or a group has to embrace change, leadership, motivation, it's all based on your mindset. My slogan is mindset is everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people say attitude is everything. Attitude is important, but your attitude is a component of your mindset.
I love that.
Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your attitude, and the actions that you take create your mindset.
Yep.
And my thing is, I help people to create the mindset that they need to get to where they want to go in their lives, personally and professionally.
Yeah, growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, right? So, yeah. Well, and what you're talking about too, some people are calling it today in today's world imposter syndrome, and I just heard something to reframe that I thought was fantastic. Where people imposter syndrome. I'm not supposed to be here. I haven't done this, but to say like, not yet. I haven't done it yet. Right. And it's just like, yeah, you haven't done this, but that's okay. You just haven't done it yet. Do it a couple times. You're going to get good at it. And then you go to the next step. Right. So instead of saying imposter syndrome, just say, I haven't done it yet. Right. And it's kind of like a little attitude or mindset adjustment, as you say. Right. So.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's very important. It's what you say to yourself. Some people call it negative self-talk. I call it self-curse talk because you're casting a spell on life.
Yep. Well, I'm still in the middle of your bio. I didn't like that for a rabbit hole. No, natural. I love it. So actually, then we get into your speaking career, and you are known as the mindset adjuster. So reprogramming your subconscious for success, correct? And you always do it with humor. You're blending humor with strategies for personal and professional development. Now, here's where it gets good for your ego. Inducted into the National Speakers Association Speaker Hall of Fame, and it's an honor bestowed upon fewer than 200 speakers since 1997. So now, now you must start saying to yourself, listen, maybe I do have it going on. My shit doesn't stink a little bit, right? So the ego is getting a little bit more confident, right? And then you've spoken to such organizations like the CIA, American Express, Marriott. You've written many books. Get your shift together. I like that. Get your shift together. How to think, laugh, and enjoy your way to success in business and life. And then, this is very Brooklyn, Motivate This. I want to read that book. I just picture you saying that. Hey, motivate this, huh? Hey, yo. The next one, Becoming a Humor Being. I like that. A little play on human being. Humor Being, the power to choose a better way. And then your most recent book, which I have read twice now, both on airplanes, and it's incredible. Love it. I actually was talking about this book to somebody, and they were like, "Can I borrow it?" So I'm actually passing on the love. Someone's borrowing it. I said, "Good luck with reading through all my notes," But this book is called Conversations with Bob, a timeless, entertaining dialogue for living an extraordinary life. And I'll tease everybody a little bit. Bob may be God. I'm just going to put that out there. And you
can tell him Bob is God.
Bob is God. All right. I don't want to ruin it too much, but Bob is God. And then there's another person in there talking to Bob who just may be a version of Steve Rizzo. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. But yeah, super fantastic book. So again, Steve, incredible. I want to dive into your comedy career a little bit, though. I mean, you were really among the tops. You were a good friend of Rodney Dangerfield, and weren't you kind of a regular at his club, if I remember correctly?
I headlined his club. By the way, I wasn't his best friend or anything like that. I was a good friend. Yeah. I headlined his club every single weekend in 1986 and a great part of 87. And this was when Rodney was at the very pinnacle of his career. I mean, Back to School, the movie, and Caddyshack, and all those movies that he did. And he was on Carson once a month, and he did all those HBO comedy specials, and yeah, that was a trip.
Well, I remember you told me something interesting about Rodney, where, he is, arguably one of the top comedians in the world, top of his game. But he wasn't really happy for a long time, right?
He wasn't happy his whole life.
Yeah.
He's one of my signature stories on don't put your happiness on hold, make a conscious choice to enjoy the process.
He just never appreciated his success, huh?
Yeah. He couldn't, because his subconscious was running his life.
So maybe saying he didn't deserve it.
He created a mindset. No, it wasn't really that. He created a mindset that signified, I won't be happy until I reach a certain status in life.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for him, he didn't reach that status until his late 50s. He started when he was in his early 20s. But a lot of people don't know that Rodney Dangerfield quit comedy for 18 years to support his family. Because back in the day, there weren't any clubs hardly. There was nothing. Very few, unless you made it big and you were playing Vegas all the time, then, you could do well, but he wasn't, and he wasn't getting the breaks. So he became an aluminum cider right in my hometown where I live right now in Babylon. That's where I live now.
Yeah.
And Babylon, Long Island. And he decided to come back. And when he did, that frustration, that anger gets built. And even as he was climbing the ladder of success, he wasn't appreciating the process. He kept focusing on that he got screwed in life and I should be here and I'm not, which kept him from enjoying the process. And he put his happiness on hold. People don't realize when you talk to your subconscious and you say to yourself, I won't be happy until I reach a certain status, your subconscious is the genie of your soul. That's what I call it. And it says to you, as soon as you make that statement, I won't be happy until I reach a certain status, the genie of your soul says, your wish is my command. I could wait. Okay, so you won't be happy until you reach a certain status.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he was in his late 50s, early 60s, where he really started cranking, that he started making it. So some people are saying, well, wouldn't he be happy then? No, you only get fleeting glimpses of happiness. People need to understand that mindset stays with you, because even when you make it to the next plateau, your subconscious immediately goes back, okay, that was good. Now, what else do I need in order for me to be happy? And then you start that syndrome all over again. You go right back to that pain that you were experiencing when things weren't happening. People die. They live their lives, they go on, they pass on, not realizing that they had the key to turn their life around. They were listening to the big mouth inside their head, which is their subconscious, the genie of their soul, which is the subconscious. We create. That's why one of my biggest principles, I have 3 principles that when I speak to people, I start off with this, 3 principles of life. You need to know without a doubt that you are the creator of your success and happiness. Number 2, you need to be aware that you are the only problem that you will ever have. And somewhere within you, there is a solution waiting to be discovered. And number 3, whenever you're confronted with a challenge or a problem of any kind, it's never a matter of managing the situation. It's always a matter of, can you manage your mind? Can you manage your mind, your mindset, and those toxic thoughts and those beliefs and emotions that are the very things that are keeping you from living the life that you want to live?
Wow.
Those 3 principles. If you could embrace them and master them, it doesn't matter what I'm a firm believer. It's not what happens to you that determines how successful or how happy you're going to be. It's what you do about what happens. My brother Michael, perfect example. The only man in medical history that ever survived that kind of wound. It's incredible. I don't have time to tell the story, but what he did, the mindset he created when he was in the hospital for 7 months, went from 170 pounds to 98 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
And he didn't survive. He thrived.
Yeah, I love that.
He went to college, high honors, went back to the same school he graduated from. He became an attendance officer, a teacher, assistant principal. When he wanted to retire, they wouldn't let him. They made him superintendent of the entire school system.
Wow.
So he was my role model.
Yeah.
So what I was going through with my life, the crap that I went through and what I did to turn it around, he was the main source that helped me turn my life around. Because I'm saying to myself, how could he do what he did with what happened to him? And I started studying him and talking to him. And hey, he's, like I said, he's the biggest inspiration. And that's when I realized it was his thought process. It was those thoughts that created his beliefs.
It's how you talk to yourself. It's how you talk to yourself, to your subconscious, because as you said, it will listen. The genie will deliver what you tell yourself.
Yep. Yeah. Your thoughts create your beliefs.
Yeah.
Your beliefs write the story of your life.
I saw a speaker, God, he's big in the Southwest. I'm forgetting his name, Larry something. But his tagline was, your life is your own damn fault.
Oh, Larry Wingett.
Yes, Larry Wingett. Thank you. Your life is your own damn fault. And that stuck with me. Whether it's good or bad, it's your own damn fault. And that's what you're saying.
Yep. His first book was Shut Up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Shut up, stop whining, and get a life. His second book was Grow a Pair.
You guys must get along very well.
He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person.
Yeah. So let's say, like, people listening to this, and they have this subconscious that is not allowing them to be fully who they are, and this all sounds great, and rah, I get it, but like tangibly, what can they do like today to start the flywheel turning, to change their mindset? What are some steps that they could do, and then just continue for the compound effect of the change?
The first step is to become aware. To become aware of what you're doing and what you're saying. You have to become aware. A lot of people don't do that. They listen to this voice. And so if you're waking up, let me give you an example. If I'm speaking to groups that are going through major changes in the workplace, and some changes are really intense, I know without a doubt that some of those people are going to be able to go through these changes, embrace it, and move forward, and some are going to have a very difficult time, and some will go through it and even enjoy the process. The ones that are having a tough time, they're automatically saying to themselves, I can't believe this. I'm not going to be able to do this. Now I have to learn a whole set of ways to get to where I want to go in this company. This isn't going to happen. I know. Why can't they just leave it the way it is? Well, they're not even aware what this is. Like I said, some people call this negative self-talk. I call it self-curse talk, because you're casting a spell on your life. Now, those thoughts that they're saying on an unconscious level are creating the beliefs that they have about these changes that they have to embrace. Those thoughts and beliefs are creating the way that they feel. So if they wake up in the morning and they're going to work knowing they have to learn a whole new way of doing their job, and they're saying, I'm not going to be able to do this, or they're getting angry about it, that belief is causing the way that they feel. How creative and productive do you think you're going to be if you're feeling like crap before you even started? Now here's what happens. Those feelings, intense feelings that you have while you're doing it, whether it's fear, anger, or whatever negative emotion it is, will invite more like thoughts to come into play, solidifying an already negative belief system, which is causing you to feel worse. That creates the attitude that you have throughout the day at work. And all of these eventually lead to the actions that you take. And so if you become aware and you say to yourself, whoa, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. Then you ask yourself, what's going to happen if I continue this train of thought? I have to get this done. This is my job. This is what I do. I love what I do. There's something within me that can meet this challenge head on. Who can I go to that can help me? What needs to be done for me to do this? And all of a sudden, when you start asking your subconscious those questions, answers come out. But the key is that you constantly have to become aware, because that negativity is so powerful. Your subconscious is so powerful within you that will keep reminding you. I have conversations with my subconscious. I call it the big mouth inside my head. That's what I call it. Mm-hmm. And it's even in conversations with Bob when he's talking to Bernie. Mm-hmm. You got to talk to it and say, hey, I know you're there. I know what you're trying to do. And I know you're trying to protect me. Yes, this is going to be difficult, but I can do this. I've done a lot of other things that I thought were difficult, and I came up on top, and I'm going to do this too. And guess what? You're coming with me.
I love that.
And you just have a relationship with this inner voice.
That's powerful. That's very powerful, because, I would say most people have a vision of where they want to be. It could be with their career, with their relationship, with their physical health, mental health, spirituality, finances. Like they know, they could see it, but they don't fully go for it because of what you're talking about, right? They talk themselves out of it. They don't believe they could do it. There's fear. They're not good enough, etc. But what you have done, what you help people do, is to just, kind of get beyond all that negative mindset and go for it and live the full vision of your life of where you want to be. It is possible if you can push through all that big mouth crap inside of you.
Yep. Yeah.
That negative
and
big mouth.
a lot of people try to avoid it. They hear the big mouth, or when you're consumed with fear, they tried. I gotta go on my iPhone and I'll scroll, or I gotta call somebody up, or I gotta have a drink, or I gotta put something on TV. That's the worst thing you can do. Your fears are really, in many ways, your allies, because they're there to teach you something. They're there to empower you. So if you talk to your fear and you say to it, what are you trying to tell me here? What is it that's causing me to feel this way? And when you have this relationship with it, you can actually tell it, yeah, I know you're there. Thank you for the warning. But I'm going to beat this. I'm living in the future. I can actually envision my life right now the way I want it to be. I deserve it. You need to take a back seat. I know you're going to come up again, but every time you do, there'll be a reprimand, and I'm going to show you that I'm in charge. And before you know it, you start becoming empowered. I am not saying this is easy. This is a very difficult thing to do. But the more you do it, the more it becomes a part of who you are. And your subconscious that you created starts working for you instead of against you. That's the way it works.
Building a muscle, right? Building a muscle over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't. If you want a good body, you just can't go to the gym and go like this. Okay, I'm going home. You can't.
Yeah. Well, I'm blessed that I was born with this God-given body. I don't have to do too much, but most people, you're right.
Yeah. You're right.
So Steve, awesome stuff. This is like heavy, good life lessons. And thank you for that. Thank you for sharing about your life too. And I didn't really know about your brother. That's really, really inspiring. But what good would this show be without ending with some smiles? So I believe that you have a story that if you don't mind sharing, and it's a story that goes back to, I believe, the mid to late 80s, about the Falkland Islands. Would you be able to share that story with the Dave Milano audience? One of my favorites.
This bit came up at a radio show. This is back in the day. It was 1992. I was partying a lot back then when I was doing stand-up. And when I was performing at the Comedy Zone Comedy Club in Charlotte, North Carolina, I was always asked to be a guest on the John Boy and Billy radio show. These guys are huge. They're syndicated now all over the South and the Midwest. I mean, they're huge now. And I was the only comedian at the time that they would ask to be on their show every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Most comedians have an hour on one day, but because this got along good. Mm-hmm. And one day, I was partying a little too much the night before, and the one of the managers of the comedy club picked me up. I had to be in the radio studio at 6 a.m. and I was just hungover, and I'm drinking coffee and trying to. So he says to me, we're talking, I'm going to jump right into it. He's talking to me and he notices that something is wrong. And he said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm doing fine." He goes, "So why don't you tell us a little about yourself? You're from Brooklyn, New York, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. You got a problem with that?" Right? So he starts laughing. And I said, a lot of people say, yeah, Brooklyn people have a bad rap. And now I'm going to get into the bit. They have a bad rap. People say they have an attitude. People say they curse a lot. Yes, people from Brooklyn curse a lot. They don't mean to. It's just that certain words are adjectives to them. And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "The F word is an adjective to them." And he looks like this, like, "Don't say it. Don't say it." He didn't want to, get canceled. So I said, as a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. I was going to college and I was in a history class with a friend of mine who was from Brooklyn. And the professor was talking about certain countries that attacked other countries unexpectedly. And this particular event that he was talking about is when Argentina attacked the Falkland Islands. And my friend stands up and goes, "Excuse me, professor, but what Falkland Islands are you talking about?" The professor's like, "No, I don't think you understand." He's going, "No, you don't understand. I asked you a question. I got to know what Falkland Islands you're talking about. It's Falkland Islands all over the place. What am I supposed to put on a test, for crying out loud?" So the professor's like, "Listen to me, calm down. There's only one Falkland Islands." The guy's like, "Hey, moron, look at the map. Look at it. You see those little pieces of dirt floating around in the water? You know what they are? They're Falkland Islands. You got Hawaiian Falkland Islands, the Bermuda Falkland Islands, the Caribbean Falkland Islands, and somewhere on there, you got Gilligan's Falkland Island." As soon as I did that, they were in tears. I urge everyone, and I don't even know, did you look?
I looked at it. I looked it up right after I met you.
Link. Give your viewers the link.
I'll put it in the show notes for sure.
Oh, you got to. The radio's listening to them laugh.
Right.
Way funnier than anything that they couldn't believe that I was saying. I didn't curse, but everyone.
It's called the Falkland Islands. And to Brooklyn people, it sounds a little bit different.
All you got to do is just punch it in YouTube. Steve Rizzo goes to the Falkland Islands. Google it. It's
which Falkland Islands you talking about?
It just came up. It just came out of me.
So it's just a natural thing.
Then I use it as one of my signature bits. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm sure it made its way into your comedy routine, right? So I don't know. Every time I hear that, I laugh my ass off. So thank you for that. So. Sure. Steve Rizzo, you are a, and I mean this in a good way, you are a complicated person in a good way, because there's so many aspects to you, right? I mean, comedian, I'm going to say psychiatrist, motivational speaker, just all around incredible human. So glad your parents had you. I'm grateful that you were born.
I wish they were.
There's that negative big mouth. You tell him to shut up. They were very happy with you, I'm sure. Steve Rizzo. So, and congratulations on all your success. What a journey. You definitely have ridden the roller coaster through life, not the carousel. With lots of twists and turns and ups and downs and loops, and very, very exciting life. And you're in. I bet sometimes you just feel like you're still getting started because you're still full of piss and vinegar, right? I mean, you're still going strong, and I love it. People want to reach out to you and learn more. What's the best ways?
Go to my website, steverizzo.com. There's a lot of stuff there. You can order my books there. You can go to my YouTube channel there. You can also go to the Conversations with Bob website, which is yourinnerbob.com. And on that site, you could check out little excerpts from the book, and there are some videos on there as to what the book is about. The book is the most important thing I've ever done in my life. It took me 7 years to write. I wrote it at a very low point in my life after a divorce, after 33 years. And it consumed me with a vengeance, and this book came about as a result. So,
life-changing book, super phenomenal. So, Steve Rizzo, you are the man, the myth, the legend in your own mind, and many others as well. So, thank you for everything that you're doing. So glad to call you a friend. I got to thank Jeffrey Gittimore. He introduced us. So, thank you. I'll send this to Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey, for introducing me to Steve. He's a great person, and I'm excited to call you a friend. And I call you friend and we haven't even met face to face yet. So I got to get down to New
but
York City area.
We are. I have friends. That's one thing about this. You and I have had some pretty cool conversations, especially recently.
Absolutely.
And that's what friends do. That's, friends come from here. It's not from, you don't have to be in person with someone. Yeah, we are friends. Just don't push it, But
keep my distance, friends with distance. Steve, well, thanks again. I wish you continued success, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank everybody for watching and or listening to The David Mammato Show. You know what to do if you like this episode. Share it, love it, post it wherever you can. We're trying to build our downloads so we can help more and more people. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day, and make sure to stay awesome.